Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of FSi DFS Fantasy Baseball Picks. I'm host Micro31, up early 5 a.m. this morning, trying to get this video out for you so you can watch it before you go out to work or start your day. So if my voice is a little crackly, I apologize. Uh, Hope you had a good Memorial Day weekend. We've got 10-game slate here, only one weather concern with Toronto and the White Sox, but it should be a mild one anyways. They should be able to get that game in. So start with the Nationals going to the Braves. Wind blowing out at 10 miles per hour, 82 degrees. Good hitting environment here. Jake Irving, not interested. The Braves, even though they lost Acuna, still have plenty of power in this lineup. And at home and good hitting conditions, I think he's going to be a fade there. And Frieda on the other side, I know Washington got to the Braves yesterday and put up some runs, but that was a righty. He's a lefty here, so I mean Abrams has actually come down in price. He was like 6 yesterday. He's only 5.5 here. But Lane Thomas has returned. Meneses is not the hitter he's been last year. He's been okay, but not showing the flash yet. And then Senzel. So I mean, I don't know here. Washington would try just be a leverage stack here. I don't think I'm touching them all against Freed. Of course, he could have an off day, but I think he'll be fine there. I actually really like him. I think he's a strong pitching option, and I think the 8K, the upper tier has a lot of good options, but 8K does also. And then the Braves too here, I think definitely make a decent stack here. Probably my third favorite on the board here. Um, Albies potentially leading off here. Azunia can hit both sides fine. Riley, I don't trust yet to just come back from the injury. Sean Murphy's back in the lineup too. So, a cheap catcher there that has some power. I mean, we thought Harris would move up, and if he does, that's fine. If it goes like Albies, Harris, Ozuna, Olson, I mean, that's a great pairing right there for like a four-man stack in the who your fifth you want to be. Next game, we have Toronto and the White Sox, Gossman and Clevenger. Um, Wilson had a decent game yesterday against these White Sox. I think Gossman will do the same thing here. A wind's only blowing out 6 miles per hour. It's only going to be 62 degrees, so it's going to be a little bit cool and a little bit wet there. So I think it's good pitching conditions there in a park that traditionally can be a hitter's park with the wind. Something on the other side, not touching. I don't need a 5K pitcher on this slate, and I think he's just going to get hit up pretty good. Blue Jays have a 5 run Clyde total here, and they did come alive a little bit yesterday. So I think the same's going to happen, even though yesterday was a little bit more wind aided. I mean, we even saw like Springer hit a home run. It's been a while since, he's just had like I don't know if he was going like Chris Davis on us, who was like a really good player, and then all of a sudden just fell off the cliff one year, and then we kept on playing him just because we knew his name, and then we felt he owed his money. We kept on playing and playing. I don't know if Springer's gotten that far yet, um, but I do like the Blue Jays here as a stack, probably my fourth favorite here. Schneider, I'd take on either side of the plate. The shot's decent. Vogelbach, Varsho are your lefties you have. So, definitely going to be playing some Blue Jays and probably more GPPs than cash. And White Sox, again, would just be a leverage stack there. Royals and Twins, we have Reagans and Sean Woods Richardson, or Simeon Woods Richardson. Um, Reagans, I think, is definitely in play here. Minnesota's got a decent K rate, and he's been solid. Like just his last, I mean, he's faced Minnesota already this season. He put up 20 some DK points. I know it was earlier on, but I still think he's been so solid here. Woods Richardson on the other side, I played him for value a few times. The price has gotten up, and it just looks like aggression's coming. Kansas City has speed and power, and I just don't think I can play him in this situation here. Minnesota 64 degrees, so it's not like blazing hot. Wind blowing out a little bit helps bats a bit, but not like it does in like some other ballparks. So Reagan's definitely in play here. Woods Richards, I'm gonna put him on the shelf for this one. Kansas City, the bats. Yeah, I like them, but I think they're more of a GPP stack. There's a bunch of stacks that I like better. They just have like a lot of speed, and they can always have the potential to go off and to break a slate. So I always try to have exposure in like one lineup in a 20 max for a stack for me. In Minnesota, they're usually cheap fill-ins, though they're probably going to go like a right-handed heavy lineup. But then I just kind of worry, like a Farmar and Castro's a switch hitter, but you might see some of the Margot like get pinch hit for with Kepler or Phillips, Larnish, or you're probably going to see some of the lefties come in if one regular leaves the game. But I think that you can take a shot. They're cheap, but I think they're more GPP filled in than cash. I said just like watch Margot and Farmar. Unless they do damage early, they're probably going to get pinch hit for. Next up, we have the Cubs and the Brewers. We have Ben Brown and Freddie Peralta. Ben Brown, I believe he came out of the bullpen, but he doesn't go deep into games, so I'm just not super interested in him here against a Milwaukee team that can definitely put up runs. And Peralta on the other side, he's had his struggles this season, but he seems to have been solid recently, so his recent form's good. But the Cubs definitely have some potential to have some power against them. I like them better at Wrigley, especially with some wind, but I think they're okay here. But again, probably just a leverage stack against a pitcher that could have some ownership if people are paying up for them. And Milwaukee is my second favorite cheap stack to fill in with people. Of course, Contreras and Yelich are up there, but you have like Ortiz and Frelick and Trio and Perkins all in the 3K range that are usually decent that can fill in most cash game stacks. Arizona and Texas, we have the World Series rematch here. We have Dot and Dunning, and that is pitching better recently. And Texas has been a little bit cold, so I know Seager's been heating up a bit, but they're not getting the results. Like Evan Carter, who was like the World Series darling last year as a young call up, has just fallen to the like bottom. Like Ledley Travaris is like has moved from the bottom to like hitting fifth where Carter is, and Carter has like moved to the bottom of my order. So I think he'll figure it out. I think it's just a case of where you have a good young hitter coming up and nobody's got a book on him, and then they see him a little bit and have like the summer to prepare and things like that. And then now he's in kind of a I don't know if this is his official rookie year or if it's his considered a sophomore year and he's in a sophomore slump, but I think he's a super talented player. I think he'll eventually come back. And we saw the same thing with Gunnar Henderson where he came up and he was hot for a little bit and then fell off, and now look at him now. So I think that it couldn't completely write him off. And um, so that's definitely played. Dunning, I like too, but he struggled with left-handed power. Carroll's starting to get healthy and get better. Jack Peterson's there, McCarthy. The rest of the lineup's gonna be right-handed heavy, so I think he's the top cheap pitcher at like 7-1, where I'd go if I'm not like dropping down to like Waldron and 6K range. But I don't know, like if I'll have a ton of exposure. But I do like the dot too, I guess, like I say, against these Rangers. So there's some potential there. So both pitchers I think are in play here, and then I think both teams aren't playing GPP. I think I'd stack them more than taking one-offs, and pretty much that's that for that. Then we move out to Coors Field. We have the wind blowing out at 9 to 12 miles per hour, which is decent, 72 degrees, which is a little bit warmer than some of the other places, and Coors tends to be cool at night. I think it's just the mountain air. So we have Tristan McKenzie and Ryan Feltner. McKenzie, I would consider this if this game was in Cleveland, but you can't do it here. And then Feltner is definitely a no. So looking at the Guardians, again, we talk about them not having a ton of power, but being a good contact team. But I still like them here. I don't know if I play Freeman righty on righty. I'd probably try to hope like maybe Brennan leads off or try to put him in the stack. But Jimenez, Ramirez, both nailers in play. Manzardo, if you want to pivot off of Naylor and save yourself $2,600. He's has some power and he's only 3K at first base. So that's how I'd probably build there. And the Rockies, I don't mind either here. Tovar's been good. McMahon's probably the best bat on the against McKenzie here because he struggled with lefties a bit. I wouldn't play Chris Bryant. I just think he's dust. Um, Even though he's back in the lineup. Cave, if he makes it into the lineup, is interesting too. Lefty with decent power against righties. Angels or Yankees at the Angels here. 68 degrees in LA, wind blowing out a little bit, 6 miles per hour. Cortez and Canning. I don't know what to do with Cortez. I mean, he looks like he should be good. He could go out there and dominate. And this looks like a game where he should. But the Angels have been like top five, and at some point, like uh, towards the top of Major League Baseball against left-handed pitching. And even though they've lost like all these bats, like these right-handed bats continue to impress me. And I've been playing them every single day, and the results have been phenomenal. I haven't taken anything down yet, I'm close, but they've just been solid. And I love them against left-handed pitching. So I'll definitely be playing some Angels. Maybe a little bit Cortez. I'm not touching Griffin Canning. I think the Yankees are probably the second best stack on the slate. If you want to fade Coors Field and build your stack there, that's fine. They're not striking out like they used to. Volpe's solid even against the righties. Soto is always a great play. Judge has been hot. Verdugo is decent. Stan's hitting the ball really hard. Rizzo and Torres haven't been as good. Wells is a contact hitter as a lefty. He's not doesn't have a ton of power. And then DeLemayhew at the bottom of the lineup, which is just kind of strange because like Volpe's just has solidified himself as a leadoff guy where DeLemayhew used to be there. And Volpe, they thought last year and struggled, and he ended up at the bottom lineup. It's another flip, kind of like Carter and Tavares on Texas. For the Angels, Chanel has been leading off, but I don't like him lefty on lefty there. I'd probably um, play first base from the other stack that I play with the Angels or take a one off there. But Rangifo, Ward, Pilar, and Hopi, Adele mashes lefties. Like any of these ones are definitely in play. Marlins and Padres, super low total here, 7.5. The park's a factor. Pitchers are decent. Luzardo, I know he struggled with the earliest season, but I don't think he should be an 8K pitcher. He has had at least 20 DK points and 28 in the last two games. And he's gone up against teams like Milwaukee and they're good teams. I don't remember everything off the top of my head, but the last four teams have been solid teams that he has faced, and he has put up some decent scores. So we always know the Padres could potentially go off at any point, but I think in the 8K range, I in GPP, I'm going to play some Luzardo. I got some, and I'm gonna play some Waldron also on the other side of it because he has also been decent. And I know Jazz had a home run yesterday, but the Marlins are just not putting up a ton of runs either. Their power, their ISO is just down there. So Waldron at 6.2 makes a lot of sense if you're punting. And Cash, I don't know if I go that low, but in GPP, I think he opens up a lot of bats for you. Houston, Seattle, Hunter Brown, and Luis Castillo. Hunter Brown has been like Jekyll and Hyde all season. Started off really bad. He looked a little bit better. And potential's there. He's a high prospect. So eventually, I think he's going to get it going. Might just take him a while to figure it out. Seattle, the K's are definitely there, although they have some lefties that can do some damage, and Julio Rodriguez is starting to heat up a little bit. So Seattle's not as disappointing as they were early in the season after a super slow start. Castillo on the other side, I think, is definitely intriguing here. It's not a high K matchup. Like Houston's usually one of the top five teams in patience and not giving up walks and not being able to be struck out. So, I think it's a case where it's a matchup proof pitcher usually, and that but Houston might not give him the stats that we need to make him successful there. But 9-2 is not bad. It's not like he's 11K like Wheeler, up in the 10K range like Reagan or Peralta. So I think that definitely he can have some exposure to him. Houston here becomes the number one leverage stack. And Seattle, if Brown's going to continue to struggle, I definitely like it as a GPP to there's some really cheap bats to fill in here. If you look at it, Julio Rodriguez at 5K is the most expensive guy, but Crawford leading off 3-3, Dylan Moore um, going 4K, Luke Riley 3.5K, Raleigh the catcher 4.3K. Ken Zone, who was called up a couple of years ago, I think, or maybe it was last year, it was one of the September call-offs and just was really strong and looked really good as a young player. He's only 2.9, so a lot of cheap fill-ins there, and I kind of like them. I probably should move them over to the cheap one, but yeah, I have them as a GPP, almost like as a full stack, because if Brown's going to continue to struggle, then they could put up a bunch of runs there. Final game, we have Philadelphia Phillies going out to San Francisco. Zach Wheeler and Howard. Wheeler, top price pitcher on the slate, probably is going to have the most upside and probably could score the most points. But if you want to play some bats, I don't know if you can get to them. You'd probably need to play some cheaper stacks to make it work. And Howard on the other side, I have him in the cheap range, but I don't know if I want to really touch him against this Phillies lineup, who has just seemed to be on fire recently. So, and yeah, 57 degrees, so it's always cooler out in San Francisco by the bay there, but wind blowing out 13 miles per hour. Again, that's like really doesn't help hitting as much, but it does a little bit. So Philly's definitely going to be one of my top 5 stacks a day. So, like I said, you can go a lot of places for if you're paying up like Wheeler, Peralta, Castillo, Cortez, Reagan's there. Mid range, I like Rossman if the weather holds. Freed, Dot, Lizardo. Ben Brown's there, but I don't know. He's probably a GPP. Maybe Dunning and Waldron if you need some cheap pieces there. Bats are loaded. Cleveland and Coors, the Yankees against Cannon, Atlanta, Toronto, Philly, great hitting spots. GPP potential stacks with Texas, Arizona, Seattle, KC, and San Diego, which could always go off. And then cheap in Colorado there with the Rockies, Milwaukee, Minnesota, Angels, Miami. So lots of different ways to go on this slate. So it shouldn't be that you have a ton of different chalky builds. So let's see what we put together here. So give me Freed and Gossman or Gossman there as depending on the weather there. That's why I gave you 2 options. I probably would prefer Gossman, but Freed is definitely in play there. Play them both if you want to, or go, like I said, with like Fazada or Lizardo to give you a little bit more salary. And take a Naylor at catcher. Decide if you want to go Naylor or the other guy from Cleveland. That's 3K at first base there. Jimenez, J Ren, and then I'm going to fill in with Seattle bats, like I said, Crawford and Raleigh look really good there, and Brennan. Outfield for GPP, Reagans and Waldron is where I want to go. I'm going to take the Angels against Cortez, so give me a Hopi, run for row, Adele, and then you pick if you want to go fill it out with Ward and Tove. Ward, not such Ward and Pilar there, or I'm filling in with Rocky. So McMahon and Tovar are the ones I'm taking. If you want to skip one of those Angels outfielders, you can definitely put Blackman there. He should be leading off lefty against the righty there. And then first base is probably going to be a one-off there. So I got for you. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat below. Hit me up at Murder31 on X/ formerly Twitter. And if you want more information on FSi DFS, then you can go into the description of our video, and then there is the link to get into our website for our pricing, which is definitely very reasonable. If these videos help you, like, subscribe to our channel, and share with friends. Go on our X page and check it out. Matt is who is one of our Matt Noah, who is one of our team members for Major League Baseball. came up with the idea to have a promotion. So we wanted to try to get to 5,000 subs. So he decided, well, let's have a promotion. So if you have subbed, or if you sub recently, if you just take a screenshot, there's an email address that you can send it to. And once you get there within 24 hours, we'll send you a coupon for um, free content on our website. I forget what we decided on. I want to say the wrong thing here. It's early in the morning, so brain's not completely functioning yet. But check out X. All the details should be there. So thanks for watching. Hope you have an amazing Tuesday. Good luck in your contests, and I will see you next time.